With Africa's population increasing by the day, what appears certain is that a crowded continent would leave little or no prospects for an uneducated country or its people. The most powerful force to transformational change anywhere in the world remains education. And on this episode, we attempt to experience firsthand, through the eyes of a Nigerian undergraduate, what it entails, what it feels like to experience higher education in some parts of Africa. I'm James Laide, and you're watching Channels Discovery.
Considering that education is the core base of every successful economy in the world, one can only ponder over what reveals itself within Odun's passionate point of view. But why is it becoming harder for the average African student to learn? More so, when the continent's future strongly depends on the success of its own educational system.
As a student of a Nigerian university, what are some of the hurdles to learning that you face on a daily basis?
I think for anyone to learn effectively, there has to be a very good learning environment. So, for example, you have a class where there are 300 to 400 students, and then there is no public address system, or maybe it's there or it's not even working.
Right.
You know, and I think that is a major.
So you can't even hear what the lecturer is saying.
You can't even hear what the lecturer is saying. So
let alone learn something.
Exactly. Another thing I think is also, not having the right enough funding for yourself, to be able to maybe get enough books to read or eat well, because of course it might be very difficult to study when you have not eaten.
Maybe like access to financial aid.
Exactly. Access to financial aid. I think that just kills it.
Okay. These strikes, why do they happen and how can they be avoided in your point of view?
Well, basically, I think most of the strikes are usually caused by lecturers not being paid or asking for a raise. So we're talking about
university strikes here?
Yes, university strikes, asking for a raise. Or, I remember the last strike, which lasted for about 6 months. ASUU was also asking for infrastructural developments in schools, funding and all of that. So I think everything still boils down to funding.
Such time or free time on their hands, like you said, the last strike was about 6 months.
Yeah.
What do you do to stay active and how do you keep yourself busy?
Well, for me, I'm always busy around the year. That's who I am. I'm just always busy because I love to do business. But then I know that it's really a sad thing to be out of school. During strikes we hear all kinds of things.
Half of the year.
For crying out loud, it's a lot because most students get involved in all kinds of things because they are just idle, and that's really sad. I think something should be done to make sure that is really eradicated.
What influences today's students in academic and non-academic career choices?
What influences most students is not what should influence them.
How so?
What should influence them is their hearts. They should check through their hearts and find out what exactly it is they want to do with their life before making those choices.
Okay. Speaking about choices, you recently started a business. Could you tell me a bit about the business and how you got started?
Yeah, I started the business because I had passion for neatness.
Neatness?
Yes.
Do you have OCD like me?
Well,
but you're a neat freak anyway.
Exactly. I told my business partner, because I have a business partner, and then we've been doing a couple of businesses in the past. We sold bags.
What's your partner's name?
Her name is Toby.
Toby, okay, it's female.
Yeah, she is female.
According to the US Department of State, Nigeria's literacy rate is estimated at 61%, while the country still has a large number of out-of-school young adults who have little hope of joining the formal workforce. with about 104 universities, 121 polytechnics, 85 colleges of education, and 100 enterprise institutions awarding professional certification, how does an educational system such as Nigeria's keep up with higher learning? I visited the Dean in charge of Student Affairs in the University of Lagos to learn more.
Professor, how would you define the essence of a Student Affairs office in today's university system?
The Student Affairs Office in today's university system is a very challenging environment where you have to attend on a 24-hourly basis to all manner of requests and problems arising from interaction among students, challenges of accommodation, challenges of academic programs which students face, other extracurricular challenges such as a student having health problems or financial problems. All of these need to be attended to at all times for us to be able to actually attend to the issues of welfare affecting our student population. So these are the challenges that we face on a regular basis.
Okay, in your opinion, how difficult has learning become in Africa today?
Pretty difficult, much more difficult than it used to be in the past.
Even with advancements in technology?
Yes, even with advancement in technology, because of the infrastructural inadequacies that the institutions face in terms of classrooms available for students to learn, in terms of laboratory equipment and library facilities. These are improving, no doubt, but given the ever-expanding population of students, it has become difficult for the available resources to catch up with the ever-expanding population of students in our universities. And if you look at what we face, challenge of electricity is important. It affects research, it affects learning, it affects your ability to even access the internet. Sure. So these are some of the issues that have made learning a little bit more difficult than it used to be and than it could otherwise have been.
Okay. At some point in the past, a few years back, confraternities was seen to be a major challenge to the students and faculty alike. University life on campus seemed to be disrupted regularly. Are those issues still happening today, or do we see less of confraternity activity on campus?
Yes, they are happening. They are even worse than confraternities.
Really?
They are cult groups that believe in imposing and promoting the mentality of terror, and believing that the only law they obey is their own law. There was a time we had very stiff challenge from that sector, but I think with the structures we have put in place, we have been able to counter that. So these are some of the things we have done. Effective surveillance and monitoring in partnership with the police authorities, especially the Lagos State Command. And secondly, sensitization and conscientization of our students. Thirdly, by using publicity to dissuade those who would have been potential recruits for cult gangs. And fourthly, by imposing sanctions on those who are found to have transgressed at that level, and without any mercy whatsoever for them. These are some of the steps that have ensured that we have named it in the bud. But I'm not saying that it's 100%
totally eradicated.
It is not 100%.
You are winning the battle.
We are winning the battle.
Aside from strikes, what other challenges do Nigeria's tertiary institutions face these days?
Yes, I've alluded to them. Said apart from strikes, either by students or by staff, staff go on strike in order to agitate for improved conditions of service. Students go on strike because of welfare-related issues. But aside from that, you also have, like I said, challenges of resources to maintain the existing structure. Two, we have a challenge of power facing most African countries. And that means that the management of the university spends a large quantum of its resources on generating power on its own.
Which could go elsewhere.
Which could go elsewhere. I mean, that's a very big problem. And I said again, there is the problem of the ever-expanding population of students, which cannot match the ever-dwindling infrastructure that is available to cope with them. And then resources that we need to do research are grossly inadequate.
So in your opinion, what's the best way to fix these challenges?
I think, first of all, we need to invite the private sector into the management of education. By this, I'm not talking about people establishing private universities and turning them into commercial enterprises.
But the management of these
But the management of these institutions. And two, that those who are blessed and those, the corporate world, can get more involved in encouraging, funding and promoting researches in our universities as it is done elsewhere. And again, putting in funds that would enable the university to discharge its responsibility to the society. It is not something that government alone can do. And this is why we need that kind of town and gown meeting of minds for us to make it better than it is at the moment.
On a closing note, how positive are you for the future of the Nigerian student?
I am positive. I'm someone you can describe as an incurable optimist. Looking around with the students that I interact with on a day-to-day basis, I see bright, very young, optimistic, vibrant individuals who want to believe in their country in spite of everything. And I think that the future can be better than the present if we all put our hands on deck and ensure that we make this environment conducive for learning and teaching as well.
Okay. I noticed this magazine on your desk. Is this you by any chance on the cover?
It is me.
Oh, could I have a look?
You can, by all means.
And what is this magazine all about? The Nigerian Role Model?
It's about identifying individuals that they feel could serve as sources of inspiration to the younger generation of Nigerians. And that magazine sought me out and decided to put me on its cover and do an interview. And that's what it's just all about.
Excellent. Professor Babawale, thank you very much for your time, sir.
I'm a Barigani Badolo, shape your yara. Numero uno, don't try the Marco Yala. Send anybody back, Bemu, and Fossi Lara. Toka!
What's happening here? Okay, sounds good. I'm not eating anything for breakfast. Do you mind if I get some? Auntie, good afternoon. Now, boss, this one is chin. Okay. Make I get 20 naira chin, 30 naira buns. Okay, I'm buying freshly made and freshly baked Nigerian local delicacy called chin chin and buns, which I guess the Western equivalent would be donuts. So I'm getting Nigerian style of donuts, chin chin and buns for 50 naira.
I get one bell, then 5 on the same gym.
And I take one of these ones.
I forgot. Try to get credit. Sorry, person Kumasi. Police call you up to say, get call you back and go away. I don't know.
Nigerian donuts. Thank you very much. Okay.
The trend of foreign universities soliciting students in developing African countries is more noticeable today than ever before. However, many African parents cannot grant foreign education for many reasons. I chose to take a trip home with Odun to Bariga, in the inner city of Lagos, to meet with Odun's father, who also works within the local educational system, to share his own view both as a parent and a teacher.
As an educator, how would you assess the educational system here in Nigeria?
Let me start from the aspects of government involvement. Presently, the Nigerian government is trying its best, but they've not got to that stage. We still need to put a lot of effort to see how we can improve the educational system. There's still a lot of work to do.
Still a lot of work to be done. What are things that the people, rather than government, can do to ensure improvement?